Koka smiled as Governor Kong's voice echoed through the city, her crisis suit standing proud and tall before the mighty Rancor. Almost a mirror image of their first duel. She could almost hear Ravax grinding his teeth as the announcement of unconditional surrender proclaimed the end of the battle and of all resistance on Roon.
It's over, Ravax.
True Strike said confidently.
Surrender. There is no escape.
The Crimson Giant twitched at her words before a deep growl rumbled from the speakers.
Roon may fall. I care not. I care only to see you die.
Rancor took a step forward.
To see you scream and beg for mercy that I shall not grant as I devour you alive.
Another step.
I shall make you watch as I strip the flesh from your bones.
Koka huffed and ignited her fusion blade.
I shall kill you swiftly, Ravax.
She declared.
Your severed head shall silently witness your own headless corpse.
We shall see.
Ravax roared as Rancor raised its claw and unleashed a stream of liquid fire. True Strike leapt upward, unleashing plasma fire from her rifle, as in their first duel, her shots splashed harmlessly against the energy shield, protecting the Crimson monster. But, unlike the last time, Rancor's turrets tracked her movements far better. When they opened fire, she was forced into far more aggressive evasive maneuvers.
Do you like the upgrades I've made?
Ravax laughed as he advanced.
I wasn't idle after our last duel.
True Strike gritted her teeth as she was forced to give ground, leaping back into the massive bridge, stretching over the deep canal. Soon it would carry not water, but fire, once the lava unleashed by the volcano reached it.
A minor improvement!
Koka shouted, closing the distance and slashing with her fusion blade.
Not enough to outmatch me!
Ravax roared. Shock tendrils lashed out from Rancor, seeking her suit, but missed completely, only to be destroyed by precise plasma fire.
Once more you prove yourself nothing but a simple-minded brute.
Another swift dodge. She dropped beneath the bridge and emerged on the opposite side, unleashing a barrage of shots at Rancor. The giant war machine turned with a roar from its pilot.
And you prove yourself nothing but a buzzing insect!
Ravax shot back, his voice dripping with hatred. Koka laughed, dodging again and luring Ravax further onto the bridge. Absent-mindedly, she noted the bridge's durability. Despite Rancor's immense size and crushing footsteps, the structure barely trembled. Whoever had built it clearly knew what they were doing. She dodged again, keeping up a steady stream of fire and keeping Ravax's attention firmly on her, which was good. For all his bloodlust, Ravax failed to notice how his rivers were being torn apart by her crisis suit teams. And that suited her just fine. She knew many of her pilots would fail to avoid the overwhelming barrage of fire Rancor was unleashing in her direction. She grimaced as a shot grazed her leg. A little closer, and she would have lost it. The suit groaned under the strain of her hard maneuvers, and her own attacks were accomplishing absolutely nothing. Rancor's shields were beyond the capability of any weapon she carried. Unfortunately for Ravax, she hadn't come alone.
Vesava?
I await your orders, Chasson. The AI drone answered dutifully.
Commence the attack run.
She spoke over their private channel before switching back to the external speakers.
As slow as ever.
She taunted, shooting high into the air while keeping Ravak's attention fixed on her.
Are you sure you aren't a hut in disguise?
You damnable!
Ravax roared, unleashing another torrent of fire. She dodged with difficulty. Several more shots grazed her armor. Her shield generator whined under the strain, and her jet engines were beginning to overheat. But it didn't matter, for Ravax failed to spot the killing blow. A pair of tiger sharks roared over the city, closing in on Rancor from behind. Their heavy rail cannons designed to bring down Imperial Titans locked onto the massive Crimson Walker. Ravax spotted them. In a fraction of a second, Rancor pivoted to face the incoming threat and unleashed a storm of missiles. The tiger sharks fired. 2 rounds smashed into Rancor's shields. One missed entirely, the last glanced off the bridge, carving a superheated scar across its surface. Ravax let out an enraged scream as the shields of his walker finally failed. But Koka felt no joy. She watched the tiger sharks break away, dodging to either side. One failed. No fewer than 3 missiles struck the noble aircraft, sending it burning and screaming towards the ground. Enraged, seeing her opening and unwilling to let the chance for vengeance slip away, she surged forward, her fusion blade sang. The distance vanished in moments. With the blade extended, she aimed straight for the cockpit. This time, she would kill the Crimson Warlord.
Die!
She roared, her eyes blazing as she closed in. And then she saw her fusion blade strike an energy shield. The blade split apart. Before she could react, she screamed as her suit slammed into the barrier and she was hurled spinning through the air. She tasted blood. The world spun around her before she crashed into the bridge and skidded to a halt. Alarms blurred inside the cockpit. The surviving screens displayed extensive damage sustained during the impact. Her suit was a wreck. The world spun, her head rang, her vision blurred. Her ears, however, worked just fine. And so she heard the joyous laughter of her rival.
Clever, very clever little insect,
he praised.
but I came prepared. As I said, I made upgrades to the Rancor.
The giant machine took another step forward,
including a secondary shield generator.
He cackled.
And now, my dear, you are mine.
Another step.
Mine to ravage, to skin alive, to torture, to consume.
Her blurry vision struggled to focus upon the massive crimson shape.
Don't worry,
Ravax continued.
After you beg for mercy of death long enough, I shall grant it.
The giant claws of Rancor opened wide.
By placing your skull in my jaw and cracking it like an egg.
His cruel laughter echoed across the city as he took another step closer. It was like a storm front, a wave of power, an echo of a great stone striking the surface of a force far, far away. And yet, Count Dooku felt it. Clean and crisp, he could almost taste it. Darkness emanated from that wave, a tide of bloodshed, hatred, and fear. It called to him, a siren's call to all who wielded the dark side as a tool. Something was happening, something similar to the Great Displacement. Similar, but different. The first wave, while powerful, had not carried this kind of emotion or pain. It had also been greater, stronger. Was this another displacement? Were the monsters from the dark galaxy passing into this galactic disk? And, if so, how could they be used in the Sith grand plan to rule the galaxy? He did not know, but he knew someone who would. The console flashed a familiar symbol, and the Count of Serenno knelt, lowering his head before activating it with a flick of a force. In a blink, he was there. Darth Sidious, his master, rose before him in holographic form. He studied his student for a long moment before speaking. Lord Tyrannus, I sense you too felt the disturbance. He noted. I did, my lord. The apprentice answered. I felt the dark wave of power. I believe someone else has arrived in our galaxy. I think so as well, my apprentice. Darth Sidious nodded in agreement. Another force has arrived, one that may both aid and hinder our plans. Which one exactly we need to discover as quickly as possible. The hooded gaze of his master settled upon him. Travel to Molavar at once, Darth Tyrannus. From there, commence your investigation. Count Dooku furrowed his brow. You want me to go there personally? He asked, confused. Yes. Sidious nodded, his tone steady. Your presence will be important. People must know that former Master Dooku looks after the people of the Outer Rim. That memory will aid our future plans. Count Dooku bowed his head. I obey your command, my master. I shall depart immediately. Good, good. I wish you fortune in your investigation, Lord Tyrannus. Sidious spoke in an almost pleasant tone. I shall await your report regarding your discoveries. The hologram flickered and winked out. Count Dooku rose from his kneeling position and pressed another button on his console. My count! One of his servants spoke through the comm. Prepare my shuttle. Dooku ordered. At once, my lord. The voice replied swiftly. Will you require an escort? I will not, Dooku said firmly. I shall be traveling alone on private business. Of course, my lord. The shuttle shall be ready shortly. The Count of Serenno switched off the comm and turned to look out over the grounds of his castle, pondering the future of the galaxy. A galaxy that he believed would one day be his to rule. Ravax couldn't have worn a wider smile. True Strike, his rival, had fallen for his trap. The second shield generator had been a gamble, especially with the added weight, but then again, it didn't need to work for long. Just long enough for True Strike to expose herself to his fury. He took another long step toward her crippled crisis suit, his heart beating faster. He couldn't wait to peel away the metal of the suit and get to his rival, to see the fear and terror on her face as he broke her limbs, leaving her helpless before everything he intended to do to her. Your screams, he almost whispered, looming over the downed suit. I can't wait to hear you scream. He reached out with a massive claw, only to grunt in irritation as shots slammed into his back. He turned, only to see 10 crisis suits flying straight at him, unleashing plasma and missiles upon his glorious machine. His eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed in fury as he saw what those damnable Tau had done to his troops. The Reavers who had followed him were no more, ripped to pieces by the sudden Tau assault while he had been occupied with True Strike.
No! Pull back!
His rival screamed.
You're no match for...
Die! Ravax roared, cutting her off. Streams of crimson bolts, missiles and liquid fire surged out to meet his attackers. And very quickly, it became clear that those fools were not on the same level as their leader. They had spirit, true, but they lacked skill. And so he laughed, as one after another they fell beneath the onslaught of his guns. But it was not the deaths of those pilots that brought him joy. Oh no. It was the desperate screams of True Strike as she begged her comrades to break off their attack.
No! Break off! Break off!
She screamed, and the tone of her voice was like aged wine to his ears. It was glorious. Another 2 suits shattered and were engulfed in flames before the remaining 5, a mere half of those who had dared to attack him, finally broke off and scattered in different directions, avoiding his ire. It was slightly disappointing, that much he could say without a shadow of a doubt. But then again, it was a small loss. For all their bluster and eagerness, they hadn't left a mark on Rancor. He turned slowly, enjoying the sounds of pain and distress coming from the crippled suit. His eyes glinted with a cruel anticipation as he leaned in once more. Your comrades aren't half as skilled as you, little bug. He chuckled. Then again, you aren't that strong either. He reached out with a massive clawed hand of his machine. You are so much weaker
than you thought you were. A pathetic little worm for me to crush beneath my heel.
The dark, sadistic chuckle was cut off by a deep voice filled with pride and contempt. True Strike's eagerness sometimes outstrips her ability, the voice said. Ravax turned, only to witness a massive shape descending on the streams of blue flame. A massive Tau battlesuit, somewhat similar to the Riptide he had destroyed, but armed with 2 weapons instead of 1, landed upon the bridge. Mine does not. Ravax gritted his teeth. Once again, his vengeance, his fury, his bloodlust denied. Who are you supposed to be? He hissed, slowly turning to face his new enemy. The great machine stood silent for a moment, as if judging whether speaking to Ravax was worth the effort. But in the end, the pilot spoke. I am Sure Strike, commander of a 4th sphere of expansion, disciple of Shadow Sun, savior of Seiyun Sept, exterminator of the traitors to the Tau Va, and the mentor to the warrior you have brought low. He declared, I am also the man who will kill you. Ravax twitched. Sure Strike. Yes, now he recognized the voice, the tone of it. That was the overall commander of the entire invasion. And more than that, he was True Strike's master. A sound that could only be compared to a demonic laughter escaped his throat. Loud, throaty, almost hysterical, as Ravax fully appreciated the measure of the enemy before him. Oh, what a delight! What a delight! He shouted. I drank the despair of your student as I slaughtered her comrades. I will savor her cries as I rip your carcass from that little suit of yours. He raised his clawed hand. You won't be the first Riptide I've butchered today. The claw shot out, open and screaming, aimed straight at Sure Strike. But to Ravax's frustration, the machine dodged, soaring into the air and hovering in place. He roared and unleashed the might of his cannons, but every shot splashed harmlessly against a powerful shield enveloping the suit. You are mistaken, beast, Sure Strike said in a calm, confident tone as he looked down upon Rancor. This isn't a Riptide. This is Ivara. Ravax was about to fire his obliterator cannon once more when the strange suit raised its left arm and unleashed a torrent of blue light. For a second, it seemed to do nothing. Then the servos in the Rancor's left arm failed. The obliterator cannon suddenly dipped downward and blasted a massive chunk out of the bridge. Ravax cursed and took a step backward as his shields collapsed and every screen in his cockpit began flashing warning signals. EMP. The blue light wasn't merely for show, it was a massive EMP emitter. Realizing just how much danger he was in, Ravax stepped back, trying to bring his weapons to bear against Ivara, but the controls were sluggish, while targeting systems either went offline or were outright fried. He moved away from the hole in the bridge and turned, desperation gripping his heart. Sure Strike slowly and deliberately maneuvered his suit until it hovered before Rancor once more, still looking down upon the Crimson Giant. Are you what truly passes for a warlord in this galaxy? Sure Strike asked in a smug, amused voice. How disappointing. Ravax gritted his teeth, his eyes wide with fury, his hands slammed against buttons and controls throughout the cockpit, desperate to regain control of his creation. You dare! He spat. You will regret this. Cow! I will kill you! I will eat your marrow! I will skin you and feast upon your corpse as your pupil watches! And to his mounting fury, Sure Strike laughed. A deep, mocking laugh as he continued to look down upon him. Oh, you see, this would be intimidating. The Ivara loomed over Rancor. If you were intimidating. You dare to mock me? Ravax roared in blind fury. Mock you? Sure Strike asked, seemingly amused by the accusation, slowly raising the right arm of his war machine. Not only that, little monster. I dare to kill you. As the last syllable reached his ears, Ravax watched as a torrent of blue flame, far greater and hotter than anything Rancor could unleash, soared from Ivara and engulfed the Crimson War Machine in its entirety. The machine screeched in alarm, and Ravax felt the soaring heat radiating through the armored plates. He tried to pull back, to activate the shields, but most of his systems were fried, and nothing could protect him from the fire. You have faced the fire of my caste, beast! He heard Sure Strike's voice through the flames, as he watched with widening eyes as the transparent steel of his cockpit began to glow and warp beneath the relentless heat. And you have been found wanting! The glass disintegrated, and Rancor's cockpit was engulfed in blue-white flame. Ravax screamed in agony, feeling his flesh blacken, his eye melting in its socket, his vocal cords tearing as he breathed in the fire and fury of a fire cast. Rancor stumbled backward and found no footing where the obliterator cannon had punched the hole in the bridge. As he burned, Ravax heard Sure Strike's laughter. Ha ha ha! Now fall, as all foes of a greater good! Fall! And he did. Rancor tumbled backward and fell, screeching as it was consumed by flame. Its systems either screamed alarms or lay dead from the EMP, while metal plates glowed red and twisted beneath the concentrated heat. And Ravax screamed alongside his creation until it crashed into the bottom of the canal. The impact was devastating. His beloved machine crumpled and twisted upon impact, and Ravax felt bones shatter throughout his body. His spine cracked, but more than that, he felt the flames. Hungry, hateful blue-white flames that continued to bite and sizzle across his flesh. Yet, for all the pain and the injuries, for every sign that this was to be his end, Ravax refused to give up. In defiance of fate, he crawled. In defiance of pain, he pushed onward. In defiance of death itself, he dragged himself from the burning wreck of his beloved machine and, grunting in agony, collapsed onto the ground. His flesh was burned. His body was broken. His one remaining eye still worked, though what he saw was blurred and tinged with the green hue of his blood. He crawled and pushed forward, growling under his breath, but his strength was leaving him. And when he glanced behind him, he saw his doom. A wave of lava, unleashed by the volcano and guided into the channels, was already licking the sides of Rancor's corpse. Soon the molten flood would swallow his machine whole, and after that, it would consume him as well. Footsteps. Quite a lot of them, which made no sense. No one should have been in the channel while the volcano erupted. Was it the Tau? Were the blue-skinned bastards truly coming down here to finish him personally, despite the river of molten fire? He turned with a groan as his battered body refused to cooperate. The vision in his remaining eye darkened as unconsciousness reached for him. He saw figures. Tall, lean, humanoid figures cloaked in garments that rendered them almost invisible. He wanted to look up, to see their faces, but he couldn't. He was too weak, too wounded. But just before oblivion claimed him, he felt the flames biting at his skin suddenly extinguish. The pain receded. Then many arms lifted him from the ground. Runes fell to the ground with a clatter, and Shinue opened her eyes to witness what they revealed. 2 runes lay before her, and the sight of them made her release a breath she hadn't known she was holding. The rune of victory and the rune of rangers lay before her. They succeeded. The blood beast lived. As if to confirm her thoughts, she spotted the rune of salvation not far away, pointing toward the runes of the Craftworld, Corsairs, and Exodites. Yes, the gate leading to salvation of her kind had been opened. Yet her heart sank as she saw the runes scattered beyond the gate, on the path to salvation, each one a promise of ruin. The Dark Kin, the Green Tide, the Monkai, the Dragon, the Chosen, the Darkness, the Fall. And while there were other runes, many promising future or safety, one above all stood out and surprised her. Yniad. Interesting. She muttered, her eyes locked on the final rune. The new, yet unborn Elder God, somehow important, even though she who first could no longer reach them in this new galaxy. The Ynnari, that strange cult as it turned out, still had a role to play. She then felt, rather than heard, the names of those who will be important in the futures to come, each rising from the runes scattered around the room. Serfion Silan of Inari, the one who shall dance with the dead to bring forth new life. Anasi Elendril of the Sun Blitz Brotherhood, his hands stained with blood, his blade blazing with fire and fury, as he is unleashed upon those who'd try to stop them. And Seirin Velorath, the Whisper of a Black Rose, the shadow with a kind smile, that abandoned pride of his kin to seek the truth in the simplicity of a moment. She felt her emotions stir, threatening to break free, and even though there was no longer danger to her spirit, she kept them at bay. For she would be a fool to ignore the silent threat of a Roon of a fall. The Eldar had fallen before, and if they stumble again, they might fall once more. But more importantly, she did not underestimate the darkness the Roon revealed, for she felt it, deep and absolute, not the rageful tempest of the Chaos Gods, but a black hole, an event horizon where all light died and all futures twisted before it. Her heart trembled at the thought of that dark king, but she restrained herself. The fate of this alien galaxy was less important than the fate of her people. That took priority over everything. So she remained seated, contemplating the runes, her sight reaching far, but not far enough. The reawakened storm and the shadow point both blinded her, hiding the truth of things yet to come, and every glimpse she managed to grasp shattered at her touch into a dozen different futures. After some time, she stopped reaching out. She could not do this alone. She would have to summon many of her kin to pierce the veil and see deeper into the future, to find the path that would ensure salvation for the Eldar and grant them a chance to rebuild their long-lost civilization. Her eyes once more landed on the rune of a god of death. Yniad, she muttered again. Why are you important? She asked. The runes remained annoyingly quiet. Sure Strike landed on the bridge, right at the edge of a hole leading into the abyss. He looked down at the still burning corpse of Rancor before turning to his pupil. True Strike was crawling out of her crippled crisis suit. The hero's mantle was a wreck, armor cracked, limbs twisted and broken. She coughed up blood as she struggled to rise. He grimaced. You were outwitted by a simple beast. He spoke in a hard tone. I expected more from you, my student. Koka tried to answer, but fell to her knees, seemingly unable to stand again. The remaining battlesuits of her unit landed around her. Her honor guard remained loyal, leaping from their suits to assist her. Even her irritating drone arrived at the speed at its mistress' side. Sure Strike stepped closer, watching his student who, much to his satisfaction, refused the help of her guards and finally forced herself upright through sheer will. She looked up at her mentor, still enclosed within the Ivara battlesuit.
Ravax was no simple beast, mentor.
She answered after a moment.
He created that trap specifically for me. After only one battle, he recognized that I would try to finish him with a single strike. After I ensured his shields were down.
She coughed, blood staining her lips.
He might not be impressive to someone like you, but there are few warriors like you.
Sure Strike eyed her quietly, weighing her words, judging whether they were truth, flattery, or a poorly hidden insult. Chassot, Commander Koka is suffering from internal bleeding. Her irritating drone cut in. She requires immediate medical assistance. Sure Strike remained silent for a moment longer before giving a short nod. Make sure she is placed under the care of our best medics, he commanded, then looked back at his student. We shall speak again after your recovery. It seems you still have much to learn. Koka tried and failed to make a sign of contrition. The pain of her broken bones stopped her. Sure Strike did not care. He turned away as his student was carried off by her guards. The Battle of Roon was coming to a close. The fires that had burned only moments ago were being extinguished by coordinated Earthcast drones. Rubble was cleared. The wounded were tended to. A Watercast envoys already walked the streets, calming the terrified population. A victory. He took a deep breath. He savored the taste of it. His work here was over, though the operation itself was far from complete. Re-establishing peace and order, installing a new government in the capital, disarming and eliminating remaining hostile elements, all of it would take time. Not that he minded. He would need that time to address flaws in True Strike, and how she had allowed herself to be outmaneuvered by that Ravax of all creatures. Was it her failure as a student, or his as a master? Or was that lesser creature actually capable of outwitting a Tau? He would need to discover that in the days and weeks they would spend here, working side by side. His thoughts were interrupted by a message from orbit. Highest priority, bearing the symbols of all castes, save his own. He activated the comms, his mouth going dry. No message of this priority could carry anything insignificant. I'm listening. He spoke over the comms. Chassot. The voice of Stormhammer reached him. We have intercepted a message going out in all directions. I believe our victory here has just been overshadowed. Sure Strike felt his blood turn to ice as he pressed the button and listened to the intercepted transmission. The voice that came through the speaker was clean, crisp, and full of authority. Each syllable a promise of violence few could withstand.
This is Voltaurus. Voltaurus calls to all loyal servants of the Golden Throne. This is Patriarch Tybalt of House Terran. For a full Terran year, a great storm has shrouded our principality. Through fire and ruin we have endured, against beast, heretic, and nightmare alike. Now, as the tempest recedes, I behold a sky no longer known to us. The stars themselves stand misaligned. The holy light of the Astronomicon is seen no more. Even the Immaterium howls with a voice unknown. At first I feared the darkest truth, yet the thrown adepts and sworn savants brought forth an answer I could scarce endure. Now I accept it, for I have seen the strange constellations with my own eyes, and heard the whispers cast through the void between worlds. Hear me now, all those who carry devotion to the God Emperor within their souls, hear me and stand firm. The Emperor yet lives. He still reigns upon the golden throne of Terra. The Imperium endures. It is not the Imperium that is lost. It is we. By the malice of the warp and the fury of the storm, we have been cast far beyond the Emperor's light and the bounds of his dominion. Yet nothing comes to pass beyond his divine will. This exile is no accident. We were meant to survive, meant to endure, meant to carry his holy light into this darkness by oath, by cannon, and by blade. We are the shield that shall not break. We are the wrath of iron forged against the dark. We are the bearers of the Emperor's divine design and sacred legacy. To all who hear this transmission, ally and enemy alike, know this. House Terran stands. We stand loyal, we stand unbowed, and we shall face the darkness with the Emperor's light burning within our hearts. No matter how distant Holy Terra may lie, no matter what horrors dwell beneath these alien stars, truth remains eternal, and that truth is this. The Emperor protects.
Well, here we are, my dear viewers and listeners. The finale of Season 1 of Star Wars X Warhammer 40k series. With an appropriate cliffhanger, I think. The Imperium and other factions besides have passed through Gauntlet into Sky River Galaxy, and one can only wonder how they shall change the galaxy. But to see that, you will have to wait a bit. I already have some plans for Season 2, but I want to plan it out much better than Season 1, make it more cohesive and fun, but this demands quite a bit of work and preparations. Meaning, there will be a gap between the seasons. I will be doing other things, making other videos, mostly those requested by my fans. Something to change pace. So, don't worry, Star Wars X Warhammer 40k is not over. I will simply give the series some time to breathe. Now, to the important matters. I need to thank everyone who provided their voices for the finale, and as you probably guessed, it's more people than usual. First, I want to thank entire cast of Hunt for the Enorat Star Wars role-playing campaign for providing voices for We Are Forsaken Echo of a Cursed World. Artificial Dragon, the DM of the entire series. Darth Celine, who plays Mandalorian Princess Esme Ordo. Dr. Embos, who plays the role of a bastard, Sir Morin. Arkhamverse, player of Mac, the muscle of the group. Royd Travis, voice of a Jedi survivor, Sar. And Gobmo, who plays Rugen, a cute bunny cyborg with bad attitude. Massive thanks to all players for contributing to my series. I highly encourage you to check out their campaign, in no small part that I myself play a role in the series as an important NPC. Though I am not the only one. For meganacox, the voice of Nira, another Mandalorian character in the campaign, voiced no other but the Lady Captain Francesca Dominica Blackthorn. Having her voice this character is truly a treat. Especially since I didn't pay for that one. You can thank Royd Travis for it. He decided to support the finale in unusual way, and so he paid for the lines, for which I am thankful, as I am for him returning as the voice of Governor Bisat Kong. Thank you, man. I appreciate your support. Next, I once again need to thank Luffy for returning as the voice of True Strike. Without you, this character would have lost a lot of her charm. Thank you for being a voice of this character and part of this project. Similarly, Seth Lincoln has outdone himself voicing Trios Cognis Cerberax. He has amazing delivery. To those who don't know, he records all lines with each voice. I just mix and match at the end, making it sound like a proper, three-headed tech priest. Thank you, my friend. This walking bag of screws wouldn't be the same without you. Finally, we had, at the very end, a special guest. The one and only Old Man Reacts, who voiced Patriarch Tybalt of House Terran. I've been a fan of his channel for quite some time now, and I'm thrilled that he decided to accept my request to voice this character. I knew what type of voice I needed to deliver that speech, and I knew Old Man was the person for the job. Go visit his channel, it's really fun. Now to the artists. Special thanks go to Hayden Lumpkin, friend not only of the channel, but me personally. Hayden, you've supported my channel for years now, from the very beginning of it, in fact. And I do not believe my series, or this channel, would be the same without your amazing art and support. The help you provide is impossible to measure. Thank you. I truly do not know how to thank you enough. Next, Cubic Curator, also an old friend whose skill and ability continues to impress me. Your contributions to this series as a whole are a proof of your ability and talent. Thank you. I tip my hat to Macawi, who was one of the first artists I've commissioned for the series. Zavi deserves praise for delivering an amazing depiction of Cerberax, and incredible 3D Vincenz, who delivers amazing art pieces no matter what I ask of him. I can't forget a fan who created amazing fan art for me that I can use in the series. BD1106 for his amazing art and animations. And he isn't the only one, as the amount of fan art sent my way continues to grow, for which I am greatly thankful to all members of the community who decided to create something for me. Thank you. Finally, I want to thank my highest patron supporters who help me keep electricity running. S.A., Rayburn, Michael Pellison, Josh Travis, Cell, Psab, Erisda9, Xeragusta, Boromir117, and Heimko. If you want to join them, go to my Patreon. Now is a good time to join, as all tiers have voting rights, and I will be asking people what new video to make. However, you can also support me through Ko-fi, where I gather funds for art pieces and voice acting, or you can jump to the merch store and buy a sticker or two. any monetary support is of great value. Now, for the fun part, the final Q&A of Season 1. And because it is ending of Season 1, it's a special occasion, and so everyone can ask 2 questions instead of 1. But do keep it in 1 comment if you can. I will probably create multiple Q&As for the ending of a season, doing my best to entertain you and answer your questions, though no promises I will answer them all. That might be a bit much even for me. In other news, we have Discord, so you can join our community there. You can also check on the map for Season 2 there, something me, Hayden Lumpkin and Artificial Dragon were working on for quite some time. Speaking of which, here is the map for Season 2. Enjoy the little glimpse here and seek ways to find the full version. On another note, I'm cooking something special with a killer studio for Star Wars X Warhammer 40k project, so wait for that. I hope you will like it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, smash the like button and sing my praises, or curses, in the comments. But I think that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most heretical day. Ta-ta!
We are the Force. Ah, shit, I messed it up. Ah, no. Ah, fuck.